What is going on, my fellow Guardians? My name is Alpha Skies, and I would first like to apologize for having to disappear for some time. I did have to take some time off of D2 as a whole due to school and for other personal reasons, but let's go ahead and jump straight into what are my first impressions of Destiny 2's new season, Season 17, Season of the Haunting, or as I personally like to call it, Spooky Season. So the first thing I want to go ahead and immediately talk about is going to be the actual season activity itself. I actually feel like it's a very interesting activity. I wouldn't say it's the most fun activity we've ever had before, but it also just isn't the worst that we've ever had. However, there is one major thing that I do feel needs to be addressed with this activity, and it purely comes down to an issue that I think was on Bungie's part. Whenever you actually navigate to the Leviathan on the moon, you can see that there's two different versions of the Leviathan that you can fly to. The difference between these two instances is that one is intended for players that just want to explore the Leviathan, gather chests, gather resources, that type of thing, while the other is for the player that intends to actually do the activity in question. Why is this a problem? The main reason this is a problem is because it splits up Guardians for no apparent reason. If a player is ready to get into the game and start grinding as soon as possible, then more often than not, they're not going to bother reading the differences between these two instances, and that definitely appears to be the case. During the first few hours that I was playing, I actually found that it was way easier to find groups doing the event in question whenever I was going into the instance for exploration versus actually going into the instance where you're supposed to. When I would go into the actual instance where you're supposed to focus on the event, I would only get in lobbies with like one or two other players, and it was basically impossible to actually complete the Nightmare containments. I do understand and actually really enjoy this approach that Bungie is taking with this. However, they need to implement what would be an extremely easy fix for this, and that would just be to simply disable the actual event itself in the exploration version of Leviathan. But taking that one obvious major flaw out of the way, everything else honestly fits relatively well into the season. The loot is extremely fun, exploring is also extremely fun in this area too. If you're an original D2 player, coming back to the Leviathan could really mean something to you. The next thing that we're going to quickly overview is the weapons. The weapons are going to be, seen in the season, are going to be extremely interesting weapons that are going to be added to our arsenal. I have gone over and looked on light.gg to take a look at some of the perk rolls and things that we can actually see, and we are seeing a couple of new perks. Most of these I will be getting into details later whenever I do a video that is going into the god rolls for the weapons and stuff for this season, so if you want to see that video, hit that subscribe button and that notification button down below so you know when that video goes live. And a lot of these perks have a lot of potential to find a comfortable spot in the meta of Destiny 2. Two of my absolute favorite perks that I highly recommend you go ahead and keep your eye out for as soon as possible is Focus Fire and Incandescence. Focus Fire is going to grant you a 20% damage buff for 11 seconds after hitting 50% of your magazine as precision shots into an enemy, and Incandescence is going to spread Scorch to nearby enemies of the target that you initially defeated.
Oh my god.
I'm definitely extremely excited to play more and more with these weapons and a lot of these new perks so that we can actually see where we're going to be going with the meta of Destiny 2, not to mention that the dungeon that we're supposed to be getting soon as well. Jumping into the seasonal artifact, I'll be completely honest with you, I don't know a lot about the seasonal artifact. The only thing I do know is that Withering Heat is coming back, and I think with Sunbreakers on Warlock, that's gonna be really, it's gonna be really cool. But you have to remember, season did just drop. I've not gotten a lot of the artifact done, and I'm sure there are a few players that have. However, I don't exactly have just all the time in the world to grind that stuff out. But I will be getting a more in-depth stuff about the seasonal artifact and kind of what direction I think we'll be taking with the meta as soon as I possibly can. But that's going to wrap up things for my first impressions of the season. Do you guys like the season so far? Maybe not so much. Let me know down in the comments below. And if you want to see more content like this, you know, see future videos talking about god rolls, stronger builds that we're going to see, or even just some general Destiny 2 gameplay, hit that subscribe button down below. I'll also be streaming over on twitch.tv/AlphaSky, so swing by if you want to catch me playing or just talk about how great the game is in general. I hope you all have a wonderful start to your spooky season, and I will see you in the next video.
Oh my god, Lightning just won the 4th game of the series too. Hockey. So
Oh my god.
Oh my god.